Hi everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the 5 Bytes podcast. I'm your host, Rory Monahan. Let's get right into some IT news. So the biggest story is obviously the Spectre and Meltdown vulnerabilities, which affects any device running an Intel, AMD, or ARM processor, which is pretty much everything. If you're running Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, you could be affected. Even if you're running bare metal hypervisors, you could be affected. There's been a suggestion that patching can cause a 20 to 30% performance hit on virtual machines. I won't spend much time on this story as there's already a lot of noise out there, and frankly, my best advice to you would be don't listen to all the noise. Before deploying any patches or firmware upgrades, I encourage you to research information put out by your vendors. Chris Matthau, the man behind Skynet.im and Octoblue, has unveiled his next big venture, Computes. Computes are building a massive peer-to-peer network which will harness idle and available CPU and GPU resources of all nodes connected on this network. This essentially provides near-limitless compute resources and infinite scalability. These resources are pooled and can be used for supercomputing and has many advantages and practical uses for business and the world in general, such as for medical research, crypto mining, and even decentralizing websites and apps. So imagine this, instead of loading a site or an app hosted in a data center halfway across the world, you instead check to see if there are any nodes in your local area on this peer-to-peer network which already has the bits that you're looking for. If so, it loads from this peer, ensuring optimal performance. Computes use a ledgerless block, which is optimal compared to the classic blockchain that's getting so much press today, and it has less overhead. So, for example, crypto transaction can be performed with less resource overhead and much quicker. You might be familiar with the Folding at Home project, which was an opt-in feature on Sony's PlayStation, providing your PlayStation's idle resources toward a supercomputer network for medical research. This sounds a little similar. It does have many positive benefits for medical research like the Folding project, but also presents applications for much more use cases. Octoblue was my introduction to IoT, the Internet of Things. It was so simple, a simpleton like me could create amazing things with it. So Computes is a company I will be keeping a very close eye on, and I suggest that you do too. In other news, recently Turbo.net launched a Mac OS compatible client for running your Turbo Windows containers from your Mac. VMware just launched VMware Horizon 7.4 for general availability, and Numecent recently announced that they're now a Citrix ready partner. And that's the news. Now on to hot jobs. For this episode, I selected a company called Zerto, who are looking to fill several positions, including in sales, marketing, and system engineers. I will provide links to this in the YouTube description section, as well as on my site. In this episode's scripts, tricks, and tips, I would like to highlight a new release, a New Year's gift to the world, if you will, from the godfather of AppV, Tim Mangan, who released yet another free tool. This tool is called Passive Install, and with this tool you can script installations in the best way possible without going through any repackaging of the vendor's installer. This could be used for deploying traditional local installs, but also has extra benefits if you're deploying AppV applications. So I encourage you guys to check that out. I will, of course, also provide the links for this. To ensure you never miss an episode, please subscribe and also enable notifications on YouTube and SoundCloud. If you have any feedback for me, feel free to hit me up on Twitter @RoryMon. Thanks very much for listening.